Hello, and welcome to this episode of Natter with Niamh. Today, I wanted to talk to you about listening. Listening, or listen, is a word we're all familiar with. And we've all been taught, in a way, how to listen. If you think back to your early days in the classroom, when you would have been told to listen, or maybe yelled at because you weren't listening, you would have been told that if you're listening properly, your eyes will be on the teacher or whoever's speaking, that you won't be moving or fidgeting. And I remember that from my days as well, in my teacher training and again my days in the classroom, of telling children, eyes on me, hands in your lap, show me you're listening, and then asking the children how they show me they're listening. Of course, I realised that, we can listen while we're fidgeting. We can listen while we're doing other tasks. Of course we can. But in the classroom, we had to show that we were listening. And in my journey to becoming a coach, I've learned about listening. I've learned about active listening. So we're actually really listening to the person speaking. Because a lot of the time when we're listening with an idea, I guess, or we're thinking while we're listening of how we are going to respond to what this person is saying. We're not listening for their truth, their depth. We're not listening for the emotions they're trying to express. We're listening to respond. So active listening is actually about listening to what they're actually saying. It's listening for the meaning behind the words, for the intention behind the words. It's listening for the verbal cues, the body language cues if you're with them physically. It's seeing that body language. It's listening for the tone and the inflections in their voice. And what does that tell you about how they're feeling and what they're saying? And actually, often, whether they believe in what they're saying or what they're telling you. And so I've learnt a lot about listening through my years. And I've been told time and time again that I'm an excellent listener. That I'm really good at holding space for people. I don't really like that term, but I can't think of a better one right now. But that I'm really good at allowing people to voice what they need to get their innermost thoughts out. That I don't make them feel criticized or judged. I don't make them feel shy or guilty or embarrassed about what they're telling me. That they can open up and share their vulnerabilities with me. That when they have done, they feel that they've been really listened to, that they've been seen, heard, and fully understood. And I know that's a skill that I've developed over the years. It's also something that comes naturally to me as well. But what I've realized is that while I can be a really good listener and listening to others, that for a very, very long time, I was not good at listening to myself. Yes, I was aware of the thoughts in my brains, I only have one brain that I'm aware of. I was aware of the thoughts in my brain. I was aware of the feelings in my body. But I would often dismiss the thoughts. I would dismiss the feelings. Or I would criticize or judge myself for feeling or thinking the way I was thinking. I would tell myself, nobody else thinks like this. Nobody else feels like this. You're being stupid. You have no right to feel like this or to think like this. Who do you think you are? And I realized that I was being so critical and so judgmental of myself that I wasn't hearing what I needed, what I wanted in life. I was trying so hard to be such a good person and to listen to everybody else that there was no room to listen to me. And it was only in the depths of my depression and anxiety, and when I started journaling, that I realized the same things were coming up over and over again. And I got curious about why I kept writing the same stuff, because there had to be a reason behind that. You don't have the same thoughts over and over again unless there's something there that needs to be dealt with or processed. And so through my journal and through meditation, through getting quiet and hearing the thoughts, often it was the first time I actually really heard those thoughts, because I was aware that they were there, and I was aware that they were regular thoughts. That I can't do this, I'm useless, you're stupid, what do you think you're doing? They were there in the background. And there was a certain level of awareness. But it was only when I got really quiet, when I saw them repeatedly on the page, or when I got quiet in meditation and found that gap between the thoughts, and then one of those thoughts would come in and I'd be able to think, oh, there we go. There's that thought again. And I was able to then really listen to what I was saying to myself and work through that. To listen on a really, really deep level to who I am and who I was and what I needed. And to know that actually what I needed was help. And I needed to ask for that help. Because when we're not listening to ourselves, we don't know when we need help. We just battle through and we criticize and we judge ourselves. Or maybe you don't. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But for years I I judged myself. I berated myself for having the thoughts, for having the feelings, for actually, sometimes I kind of knew I needed help to sort through all this. But then I would tell myself I was being stupid because nobody else needs help to live their life, do they? Why do you need help to sort through all this? But we all need help at some point. But the other thing I discovered was that through listening to myself, to really listening to myself, to hearing those thoughts, to allow them to come up and to come out, to feel the feelings behind them, to sort through what was triggering those thoughts, it started a really deep healing process in me. I was able to let go the judgment. I was able to let go the criticism. I was able to see those thoughts for just what they were, thoughts. The thoughts didn't mean anything about me or who I was. That was just my thinking around those thoughts, because we can engage in a thought and we can allow ourselves to run away with it, and we can tell ourselves all sorts of things about that thought that aren't necessarily true. So by learning to really listen to myself, that's when I learned to seek the help I needed, to heal myself, to stop judging and stop criticizing myself. So listening isn't just about what we do for others. Yes, it has a large part to play in our lives, listening to others, and everybody needs to be heard and understood. And we can go through our lives hearing everybody else, but never really hearing and listening to ourselves. And for me, at least, that's where the real progress begins, the real healing starts, is in that listening to myself. So I'm leaving you with a question today. I'm leaving you with the question of, do you really listen to yourself? Do you actually know how to listen to yourself? And if you don't, that's okay, because I didn't for a very long time. But it's something we can learn, and it comes with practice. And the more we practice, the better we become at listening to ourselves. And the more we listen to ourselves, the more we discover our true resilience, our true courage, our true strength. How beautiful, wonderful and talented we really truly are. We stop criticizing and judging ourselves. And we learn to listen to our inner beauty, because we all have it. So if you need help with listening, with learning to listen to yourself, or you're just feeling completely unheard at the moment, do reach out. And I'm going to end this podcast by saying thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something out of it. Please do leave any questions or comments you have. I try and read everything everybody leaves for me. And I'm going to leave you with the question again. Do you truly listen to yourself?